Kingswood are one of Australia's best live acts in any kind of venue, and recorded, they have an impressive output of country rock and country rock albums. They've also been nominated for ARIAs and Golden Guitars. Their next album is called Midnight Mavericks, and it will be released on the 22nd of May. The latest single is Faith, and Fergus Linacre is here to talk about that and other things. Hello, Ferg.
Hello, wonderful to see you, Sophie. Are you well today?
I'm very well. And how are you, though? Because at the time we're speaking, you are in between Enmore Theatre gigs opening for Counting Crows in Sydney. So, how was the first night?
It was excellent last night. We did a few nights ago in Adelaide as well at the Festival Theatre. So it's nice to play the same venue 2 nights in a row. You get to relax and not have to pack up and run away to the next town. So yeah, we've come in early to you're backstage with us now at the Enmore. And our room is right underneath the middle of the stage where Adam likes to jump around a lot. So it's banging on the roof all night.
So, a bit of vibration. And I actually saw you play at the Enmore last year. You were opening for Joe Camilleri. So, the Enmore is becoming
They
a
love
regular
us
for you.
here. Yep, that's out. We're the regular Enmore support band these days. Yeah, and then so we're coming back to do a third or fourth one for the year next Monday.
Look, it's a great venue, generally speaking, but I think it is a good venue for you because you have this big sound and it is quite a big space and everyone is seated so they can sit there and appreciate it.
That's right. No, everyone's standing here.
Oh, for
Yeah,
Canada. Okay.
yeah,
When I
they've
was
got
there,
this.
it was seated. There you
I
go.
know. Yeah, no, they've got the standing room for these shows, which I think is a much better vibe. They had seated in Adelaide and it'll be seated in Melbourne, but now these ones are standing, so it's a bit more of a party.
Okay.
Yeah, we're trying to convert some fans over. We've got our own album tour coming up, so I think we're catching some people's attention.
Well, I'm of the firm opinion that anyone who sees you live has to turn into a fan because you are. And I come and see you live a lot because you're so amazing at it. It's not like I just think, oh yes, Kingswood, I have this particular attachment to them as a band. Actually, the live experience, because I'd heard you recorded, but then I remember seeing you live for the first time, thinking, well, this is quite something. And then it just has continued. You are consistently amazing live. And so, yes, I say this as a fan and as someone interviewing you, but I don't know how anyone could resist. Ferg, let's
Oh,
put it
I
that way.
appreciate I appreciate that greatly. It's very kind words. We do take it seriously, and we do sort of we're the kind of band that comes off stage and sits down and talks about the intricacies of the set and what went wrong, and
Okay.
so yeah, we do pride ourselves on our live performance.
Because I know Beyonce likes to look at recordings of her performances and pick them apart afterwards and send notes to everyone. So, not to say you're the Beyonce of Australian music, but
That's one way to do it. That'd be pretty difficult watching every gig back. Yeah.
yeah, quite time consuming also when you're really tired. Now, you as I said, you're in Sydney, and I did see a video of your fellow founding member Alex Laska fueling your bus, Peggy.
Yep.
And obviously, with fuel prices, Peggy is more expensive than she used to be, but the bus is integral to the Kingswood way of life now.
It is. Yeah, we love touring in Peggy, and we don't fly, we don't have to hire cars or book hotel rooms. We just live on the bus. So um, it is great, and yeah, that video Al did sort of going a little viral, as they say. But yeah, it's costing us about $1,000 to fill up the bus at the moment, which is hefty, but she saves us money in other ways, and we do love Peggy, so all is well.
Well, I think it probably went viral because of that figure, that because Alice was saying, and it was heading over the $1,000 mark, and yeah.
Yeah, it's about 3 times so far on this run. We've got up to that, so.
Well, as yes, I was watching it thinking, hopefully yes, because they're not paying for hotels. It does. Peggy does look after you, and you have confirmed
That's
that.
right, she does.
Now you do play live so much that I'm always surprised when you release music, actually, because I think when do they have time to write it, let alone record it? So when do you write?
I think we kind of write sort of constantly, all the time. So, you know, you kind of gather. I like to, there's first like a gathering of ideas. You might have an idea and get a little thing down, and that's kind of the first part of it. And then when you have downtime, you might develop that into a song, and then at some point we sort of come together, and I'll show a song to Al, and he might go, "That's rubbish," or he might go, "Let's do it." So yeah, that's the process, and yeah, and then we record them. So yeah, we're always recording, writing, or touring, and that is one of the hard things about that we're finding, especially when we have a shorter set when we're supporting a band like this tour. We've only got 6 songs to pick from, and how do you do that? You know, you want to play some new ones, you want to play some mega hits, as we call them. So that's tricky. So we're kind of mixing it up a bit on this tour.
Well, I think Ohio is a staple of your set, and I would classify it as a mega hit just because I think everyone always
Yep.
is lifted by that. It's anyone who's not
That's in
heard it
there.
can go and hear it.
They might throw things at us if we don't play that one.
That's true. But yeah, you do have an extensive back catalogue, and it is, I suppose, well, is it a question of tailoring it to the venue, say? So if you know you're going to the Enmore Theatre, it's going to be a slightly different set to, say, another venue on this tour.
Yeah, I think so. I think every gig's different, and when you're sort of supporting, it's more about, all right, let's try and grab the attention of as many of these fans as possible. Not that you're playing to your fans already, so we might cater the set that way, and yeah, play songs. Oh, we don't need to play, you know, this song because, you know, the fans will expect it. We can just play this new one that's not even released yet because it's really exciting, or yeah, we can cater it to whatever, and we do that even within our own gigs. You know, if it's a winery in an afternoon versus a club in the city on a Friday night, you know, we can sort of cater things and a little bit differently.
Yeah, and you do play a wide variety of venues. You just mentioned a winery. I've seen you in an old cinema and on the Central Coast of New South Wales. You play dusty festivals. You play crowded pubs. I think part of what's so good about Kingswood Live is that the energy is the same, regardless of where it is. It's like even if it's that winery where it's a quieter setting, perhaps, and people are expecting different things. The energy and the intention are the same.
Yeah, that's it. We love being on stage. We love playing. It's the best part of the day. So it doesn't matter what's happening. I mean, obviously it matters, but yes, there can be the energy is always high, and we just love getting out there and playing music together. Whether we're, you know, doing rehearsals for a tour or being on stage, we love playing. So yeah, that's probably what you're picking up there. That we just like. It's like going to kick the footy with your mates, or playing football. It's the same thing. You just love playing footy.
Yeah. Now you mentioned that when you write, so you might take a song to Al and he might say no. So that I'm presuming the same would work for you with him, writing songs.
No, not at all. No. No, that's not true. Yeah.
So it's like a built-in editorial process, I guess. It's you are each other's editors in that respect.
And you edit yourself. You know, you there's plenty of songs that you do where you know, there's songs that I've written that I don't think are good, and then we've kind of been sitting around and I've gone, oh look, I'll show you this one, but I don't think it's at the bring to the band level, and then I was going, oh, that's great, let's work on that one. So you can filter yourself too much, but yeah, it's just a process, and one of the best parts of doing it for me, whether the song goes anywhere or not, or even gets recorded, is it's kind of like a bit of therapy, and you're working through things in your life, and you write it, and then you're done and move on. Whether it turns into a song and then that can mean something to other people, that's another bonus.
So does that mean now you're less likely to censor that material before he hears it? That you will think, okay, well, in the past I haven't liked something, he's liked it, so now I'm just going to bring everything.
Yeah, I think the more, you know, we've been doing this for a long time now, and any kind of you know, like self-confidence or nervousness or ego or all those things that can influence, you know, there can be sort of roadblocks in a process to getting from an idea to a song. You get over that, and now, yeah, it's all just, don't let anything stand in the way of it, and you know, work on the song or work on whatever it is, and if it gets there, great, and if it doesn't, then it doesn't, and then you move on. And all those things that can bounce around in your head can only slow you down. So you just, yeah, when you're younger, I think those things can piss you off and or hold you back, and now you just yeah, we're big grown-ups, even though we don't act like it.
Well, it is often the case, I think, that anyone engaged in creative output can get in their own way, and they can do it regularly, and it can become not just a habit but a crutch sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And then people talk about writer's block and all sorts of, different things that can stand in the way of that. So yeah, there's certainly been periods where I've felt it's interesting. Um there's sort of two ends of the spectrum on this, and I haven't spoken to Adam from Counting Crows yet, but I heard him talking about um he will switch off the part of the brain that, or not switch off, but ignore the part of the brain where songs and ideas are coming. Um, for a period of time when he's like, no, I'm having a month off. I'm working on my partner's play or something like that. So when I'm walking down the street and I get a song idea, I push it away.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'd be terrified of losing that idea. And
Right.
then the other end of the spectrum is like the John Lennon model, which is you could be at dinner with three people and you get an idea, leave the dinner, go home and write the song,
Right. Yeah.
right? And nothing else matters. So it was interesting to hear Adam talk about he'll just go, no, I'm not doing that at the moment, and forget about it. And that could be a really healthy way to deal with it, to do it too.
Well, I guess there's also the I don't know if you are aware of Elizabeth Gilbert, the author who wrote a book called Big Magic, and she talks about ideas being in the ether. And if one comes to you and you don't do anything with it, then you have to let it go because it'll go to someone else. But in
Ah,
Adam's
that's
thing,
nice.
it's like, I kind of think with if Adam's letting them go, they may go to someone else.
Oh, that's a lovely way to think about it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that a lot.
Well, I think it's it's yeah. I've think that it's true as well. Just in terms of them, it's all energy. I guess is the thing. It's all energy floating around, and you can either capture it, release it, but don't hold on to it too long if you capture it.
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
So now, Kingswood have released the singles "Love and a Girl" and "Last First Kiss" last year, and "Highway Signs" and "Faith" this year. The direction towards Midnight Mavericks is definitely country.
Yep.
Was that the intention, or was that how it started to turn out when you were writing the songs?
I think it kind of happened during COVID. The last record is country-ish, or the last two records, Home and then The Tale of GC Towns. That one's kind of like a bluegrass record. Home's like a country rock and roll, southerny. I don't know. Those two albums were made at the same time with no intention because it was in the middle of COVID. We didn't know when we'd put them out. We didn't know if we were ever going to, tour again. So they were made sort of without any thought, and we were just playing around with a whole bunch of different kinds of you know West Coast country kind of
Mhm.
world and Creedence Clearwater and all that kind of that world. And then this album is kind of that, but far more focused and far more deliberate about what we're trying to do and what era and what world of country rock and roll that we really like and that we sit in. And so yeah, we literally finished the album and have been listening to it in full on the bus in the last few days. And we've got a new song called Two Lovers coming out shortly, and then the
Mhm.
album's going to be out in May 20. So we're pretty excited by it, and we love it, and we're proud of it, and we this one's the other two were kind of just two albums that were all made in this ranch in Queensland over a long period of time, and we didn't know what was going on with the world. But this one is a pretty focused record.
Well, now the first four singles that have been released have a theme, and that is that they are love songs. So Faith is, even Highway Signs is a love song.
Mhm.
So I'm guessing that's a theme as well on this album, or maybe that's the extended one.
No, I think look, if you look at our whole catalogue, there's not a lot else that we write about. There we write about love, death, and grief, and kind of introspection and trying to figure things out about life. But I think I'll just go quickly through the list of my head. Are they all love songs in one way or another? Yes, definitely. I think so.
Well,
Yeah, I
everyone
mean,
can relate to that.
that's it's kind of what we that's just representative of what we're going through and how we sort of uh I talked about the cathartic way of
Mhm.
sort of self therapy and writing about what's going on in your life and what you're thinking and feeling, and so that's kind of just how that's how we deal with things, I think.
Well, and it's that whole thing also about the specific being universal. Is that when you put in in faith, it's I called a baby, everybody else called her Faith. Well,
Mm,
that's a specific detail about the name of a person, but that's a universally
exactly.
relatable sentiment, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you know, once a song is out and you can see whether they're singing it to you or they're having in the crowd and whether they're having a reaction, um, that's when you realize that, you know, your song means something to them, like so many songs mean things to us or to me. You know, when I've been in a crowd and singing along because this song, you know, has soundtracked some big moment in my life, or I connect with this song in a certain way. And when you see that coming back to you when you're on stage, that's a pretty special moment.
So I'm guessing you may be like John Lennon and Paul McCartney in that whoever sings the vocal on the track is the one who started the song. So in this case, it would be Al
Not
starting Faith.
not always. Yes, Faith. No, Al wrote Faith with two guys in Nashville.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's rare we have of other writers in our music, but this one is, yeah, that song was amazing, and from the first time he played it to me off his little phone recording, we loved it. But no, that's not always the rule. But it generally turns out that way. But no, we do sing each other's songs, and we, you know, once songs we write together, we sort of figure out who's going to be best for it.
Yeah, interesting. Because you do have very distinctive vocal styles, and it's
Mm.
that you can hear that recorded and you can see it live as well.
Yeah, it's funny. Our vocals are sort of so far apart, but then sometimes, you know, people say they can't tell who's singing. So there was a pocket where we line up.
Now you two have known each other for a very long time, and anyone who's seen the band live can see that dynamic between you. And that it's pretty much the engine of the band, and it's quite it's quite a relaxed feeling between the two of you. And I'm just curious, after many years of working together, and especially touring in a bus, what is your secret of getting on so well?
Yeah, I can answer that. I think it's kind of like what I imagine. I've never been married, but what I imagine a marriage is like, where you have to learn how to compromise, um, how to stay out of each other's way, but also not um, avoid dealing with things. You know, it's very
Hmm.
easy to just sort of. So I think we've figured out a way of how to, you know, if there's an issue, how to sit down and talk about it and not let emotion get in the way. And when someone's in a certain mood, you know, you walk away and then come
Hmm.
back and be like, what was going on there? But yeah, I mean, it's hard to get sort of specific, but generally we're really haven't had any problems at all. And um, a few times we've had to, uh, deal with an issue. And
Hmm.
even when I say that, I can't think of one that comes to mind. We're pretty good at doing it. So I think it's just sort of a credit to us and our relationship and being respectful. And you know, we both want the best for each other. And we both want the best for the band. So
Hmm.
um, yeah, it hasn't really been a problem. But I do think you do need to work on it. You do need to know when to pull your punches and when to swing.
I think we could see the dynamic very much in evidence in the documentary Claptrap, which was made about Kingswood. Followed the band as you were undertaking the longest tour in Australian history, which was over 100 dates. What was it like when you saw the film? Because obviously that is just such a condensed version of what was actually going on. Was there anything that actually surprised you about Kingswood or about yourself that you only saw in the film?
No, I mean they definitely took a, yeah, like you say, that they you know, you could tell 10 different, you could have it as a comedy, you could have it as this is a wild band on the road, you know, doing crazy things. You can have it, you could sort of make that film in 10 different ways. They went for the kind of psychological, you
Hmm.
know, we're all struggling with who we are and what we're doing and what's going on in the world. And I came off as this miserable, aloof, you know, guy going through a heartbreak and crying all the time, which is fine because it's all, you know, those everything they shot, you know, it all kind of happened and was very real. But no, I didn't. I wasn't sort of surprised by anything. I thought that it was an interesting take they took, but I also think it worked and it was a good story to tell about the let's say darker side of of
Hmm.
of touring and such a huge undertaking as well. It was hard being away for that long, and especially with what we were all sort of going through. And yeah, it was pretty crazy tour considering everything that was happening.
Yeah, in fact, I hadn't thought about that aspect, which is that the documentary makers chose the storyline, chose the theme. You were living your life, and then that's what they presented to you. I would actually really like to see the madcap version of it.
Yeah. Oh well, it'd be great to make a our own edit. Kingswood's our own edit. You know, you could literally make Spinal Tap. It would work. You could. It would be so funny. There's so many stupid moments. But yeah. Yeah, but I thought it was important to sort of give away the creative control as well. I think anyone that makes their own documentaries just makes a promotional video,
Mhm.
and I've got no interest in those. So I took the Nick Cave model, which is just to be yourself and give your life to the art and let someone create something around it. So I
Yeah.
liked it. I think it's a great film.
Yeah, I loved it. And I think partly it was because it did identify yours and Alex's relationship as being at the core of everything that was going on,
Mm.
and also how you maintain it to an extent. But to go back to the music, I have a technical question for you because, as I said, I've seen you play live several times, and your voice has always been impressive. But I think I said this to you last year. It's even better now. So technically, I'm wondering, in both in the tone and control, I keep thinking it's just getting better and better. And how is that possible? Are you actually working on it, or is this just something that's coming about through a lot of playing?
Um, I agree. It's getting better. I think even in sort of range and abilities is improving. And I think it's probably um, I've been really lucky. I haven't had any issues with my voice, and a lot of singers and friends do. So I've been really lucky. I do work on it. I do sort of training exercises and so forth. But I think it's also the next level of rather than just ability. The next level of singing, I think, is also a lot to do with listening and listening to other singers and how to commit, to an emotional representation of what the song's about. It's kind of acting in a way. Sometimes it's not acting because it's your story and it's more, but you might not be in the mood to present that.
Hmm.
So singing is a little bit like acting sometimes, and getting better at finding that that ex- that the perfect way to express it. Because whether you sing, let's say what we would consider well,
Hmm.
hitting the notes and doing fancy things, I kind of have I don't that doesn't impress me. It's just whether I feel the song, and you have different singers. You have singers that are amazingly technically talented, and you have people that um, couldn't do that to save their lives. But that one makes me connect much more with the song. So singing is, yes, technical ability has something to do with it, but it can also have, very little to do with it as long as you are making the listener feel what you want them to.
Hmm.
And that's one of the great things about singing. You don't have to be a trained, incredible singer to be a singer in a band or to be an artist. If
Hmm.
it works, there's plenty of good examples of that.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned ideas coming from the ether, but I remember the late Jeff Buckley said that he believed the voice came from the ether as well.
Yeah, well, you don't really have a choice about your voice to an extent. You can, there's people that are incredible singers and can do all the tricks, but their voice just doesn't sound good. you know, and then there's people like I said that can't do the tricks, but they just have a voice that is incredible and connects and makes
Yeah.
you weep instantly. And they're you just so you never know.
Yeah, I think part of
You're
it
born
is
with it.
that intention and energy, which is, as I was saying, with your live performance. That's so much of because the voice is a tool of connection. Obviously, if you didn't
Yeah,
have to speak to anyone, we would never hear a voice.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's also heading towards talking about your live shows, which are coming up, and again, a range of venues. And I'm wondering if you're trying to play places that you haven't played before.
Um, Oh, look, I don't think so. I mean, so we're doing the album tour, which is sort of more capital cities. There's a
Hmm.
few places we haven't played before, but I will say that we're going to announce in a little bit later, a far more regional tour. which is what we do, and we get on the bus and we drive all around the country. So that's going to be toward the later end of the year. And there'll be some new places on that one for sure. There'll be some. There aren't many places we haven't been, to be honest.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
Yeah. This
You have
band's been everywhere. It's been on every highway. We haven't sort of got to in between Darwin and then the and north east Queensland.
right.
That stretch, which I don't know if there's even a road. You kind of got to go up and down into it. We haven't been there, but I think we've been pretty much everywhere else.
Well, coming up on the Kingswood tour between Darwin and Northeast Queensland. Now, one last question is that I discovered you had a different creative project, which is The Knot, which is a series that you've written. So please tell us about that.
Well, it's just it's an idea for a TV show. I worked at a wedding reception for 10 years, and so it's a show that I'm developing that is based around that experience. It's a hospitality show. It's a love show. It's a drama. It's a comedy about the staff that work at a wedding reception. And so each episode's a different wedding, and you kind of follow their lives around all that sort of pageantry and chaos that weddings have. So it's fun. It's there's a few people working on it. Whether you'll see it on screens or in the near future or down the track, we don't know yet. But it's been a great process working on it.
Well, I hope to see it. It sounds like a great premise. But in the meantime, if everyone wants to see your other creative output, they can go and see Kingswood live or listen to the recorded music. Fergus, thank you very much for your time. It's been great to talk to you.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me, and look forward to next time.